Wow, we are now live on Facebook, people. We did it. So
You
excited.
did it.
I did it. I did it. I did it with persistence and with unflappable calmness as I wrestled
I'm,
internet failures and slow internet and kicking my kid off his phone. And we are, we did it.
well,
We done
I'm obsessed with how well you did it. You did it so awesome.
really appreciate that. And for those of you who use that's really Aussie, use. For those of you who are joining us today, grab a cuppa, sit down, relax, chill out. I'm about to have, and I know I'm going to have an amazing conversation because we've already had one with the beautiful Leah Drew, who is coming to you live from Burbank in Los Angeles, California. And she was just showing me the beautiful mountains out the back of your place. And LA's an amazing place. It's just so big and it just seems like you go from one extreme to the other. How did you end up living in LA?
Yeah, so I mean, it's definitely not normal LA right now, that's for sure. But I grew up in just outside of Boston, Massachusetts, here in the United States. And I've over the last year traveled around a whole lot. I over the last year have lived in Massachusetts, New Jersey, England, and Spain, and now California. So I've kind of been a little bit around the block over the last year. But when I got back from Europe, I had a couple of things, kind of the universe handed me a few amazing opportunities, and I just knew it was time to make the move out here, which has been one of my dreams for a really long time. So now I'm here.
I love it. Dreams coming true. That's fantastic. And Los Angeles is the city of dreams, isn't it?
Oh yeah, the art of manifestation is what I call that.
I
It's a thing.
I so love LA. I've been 3 times in the last few years, and it's like every time I go, it's like I really want to stay longer because it's just such an interesting place to be. And there's so many. I love walking down, Hollywood Boulevard where all the stars are, and getting accosted by people trying to convince me I should buy their CD. It's kind of like, oh, that dude, you're very famous
Like,
to me.
who even has a CD player anymore? Like, just that a thing?
Could you just Bluetooth it to my phone? Thanks, dude. That'd be really great. So I was looking over your website and like your skill set is absolutely amazing. And your specialty is helping people overcome chronic pain. Like, how did you discover that that was the thing that you wanted to do?
Yeah, absolutely. I absolutely love my job. I will start with that. It's not a job to me. It's a passion, and I couldn't be more grateful for that. But I got into this because I myself experienced a massive amount of chronic pain and couldn't find the help I needed. And where it started was as a young girl. I was actually a senior in high school, and I ended up finding out that I had a pancreatic tumor the size of an orange. And
You're talking
yeah,
that big.
it, it was big. It was a big guy. And so I ended up having to have major abdominal surgery. And what no one ever expressed to me was how that was going to impact me moving forwards. And we talk a whole lot about the brain gut connection. And man, I really found that out. And over time, because I didn't focus on that brain gut connection and focus on healing that, it ended up leading to lower back pain, because a lot of the nerves that innervate the organs in your stomach, they stem from your back. That's part of why the central nervous system is so important. And that goes, includes all of the nerves that run down your spine, because they innervate everything. So I, over the years, have just been through this really long journey of figuring out how to not just manage my physical symptoms, but work on my mindset, because your mind and what you believe and what you say to yourself has a massive impact on how you can heal. And then the emotional part plays a significant role as well, because everybody in life experiences trauma in many, many forms, and that trauma impacts our nervous system. So over the years, I've just put together all of these things and realized how important all of them are in the healing process, and came to the realization that, like, it's not just one thing that's going to heal you. It's the cultivation of all of the things that you can do for your body and for your mind and, for your emotional state that are ultimately going to help you heal, decrease your inflammation, decrease your chronic pain, and optimize your health.
Well, it's interesting, isn't it? Because when you go to the doctor and you say, doctor, I'm hurting, my hip hurts, and they go, oh, well, it's probably this, here's some painkillers. That we live in a world where we're so fixated on the symptom and not the cause. And I guess what you're saying is that the cause is often a lot deeper than just my hip hurts and I bumped it. It could be that I suffered trauma when I was 2 because my father left, or because I've been in an abusive relationship. And it's like, it's quite magical and mysterious in a way, isn't it?
It really is. And I feel very lucky to have been able to grow my intuition, because that does play a significant part in helping my clients kind of get to those root causes. And you're absolutely right. I mean, a pain is never just a pain. There's always so much more to it. Like you said, I mean, you could have pain in your elbow or your knee, and there's multiple things that are involved. Take your knee, for example, right? Your knee is a joint in between your ankle, your foot, and your hip. And ultimately, there's so many things that are going to be involved and that need to be involved in order to really target the root cause of that pain. And like I said, I mean, I take a mind, body, emotion approach, because you cannot separate the mind from the body. And that emotional component and that traumatic, that the experience of trauma also play a very, very large role. And when we can target all three of those, that's when we really see that true healing that we're looking for. And, doctors are so quick to prescribe medications because that's what they know. It's what they're taught. And they don't realize that, their emotions play a role, or their childhood experience plays a role. That's where I come in. People find me when nothing else has really helped, and we go through it all.
Do you find it slightly mental that we wait until things are like really shitty before we go and look deeper? It's like when someone dies and we go, you know what? I'm going to totally change my life and quit smoking and eat better and cut out sugar. And like, why do we wait till things get really bad before we do something and make our lives? Is it because we like being in pain?
That's a really, really good question. I will definitely say, that last part, I don't think anyone likes being in pain. However, a lot of times pain becomes someone's identity, and they have a really hard time letting it go, which can make it challenging for them to make shifts in their life and to change up, specific habits or ways that they're living their lifestyle. But, I put up a post today, and it's very relevant, this question, into what's going on in the world right now. And a lot of us, we're all going through the same thing right now with this pandemic, right? This COVID pandemic. And we're all finding ourselves in silence. We're experiencing this pause in the world. And one of the theories I have is that we are all so distracted by all of the things going on in our daily life. We're thinking about how well can we show up as a mother? How well can we show up as a friend? How well can we show up at work? How much money are we going to be making tomorrow? How much sleep am I going to get tonight? What errands can I run today, right? All of these thoughts are going through our heads constantly throughout the day. And the last thing we think about is ourselves. And you've heard the term before, like, you, in order to fill up someone else's cup, you have to fill up yours first. You have to have the energy to give. And I really believe that this pause and this experience is giving us an opportunity to look deeper into our bodies and into ourselves and figure out what is it right now that is serving me and what is it that's not serving me in decreasing my pain and optimizing my health, decreasing the inflammation, whatever that may be to you, right? We can talk about mindset, emotions, whatever that is. But I think that a lot of us wait so long to seek out help with our pain because we don't notice it. We're so distracted by all of the stimuli going on in our lives that our pain is the last thing that we want to handle or dive into.
I find it really interesting. Nat's saying to me I need to put us both into gallery view, and it won't let me do that, Natalie. Gallery view. Just talk to those people while I work this out. No, it's normally it comes up and it says, put this person here, and it's just not letting me do that. So I don't know who people can see, whether it's you or me. Can you see me?
I can see you.
I can see you. That's all that matters. Everybody else.
That's all that matters, right?
Go get me.
Let's see what I see.
I'm up in the top corner, and I'm getting instruction from Natalie off to the side. But there is no gallery view. That's really strange, isn't it? I'm going over to the other screen, which is me.
Yeah, I see it like the top right corner where it says like speaker or something.
It's not there. And it could be because I am a panelist on Hayley's account. Oh, well, I can't see how to do it. So now you can see me. So cancel the spotlight. Hello, everybody. It's me. Leah and I are talking, and this is not working. I'm just going to keep going. So this is the beauty of the fact that I'm paid the big bucks to do this, and my technical support crew, I don't have one. So it's like, that's just the way that it is. It's all good.
I must say I feel the same way. Like I am my technical support. I am my scheduling. I am my everything.
Yeah,
it happens.
It's like that when you're in small business. It's like I was talking to someone the other day, and they went, "Oh, look, I thought you had an office," and I went, "No. Why did you think that?" She said, "Oh, it just seemed like you had a really big enterprise," and I went, "No, I sit in the corner of my living room, and if you look over to the left, there's the kitchen and the husband and the children, and they're all trying to get my attention, and no, it's really just me." So we've been sidetracked off what we were talking about, but I think like when we're talking about pains, there's a lot of internal pain, but what about the stuff that hits us from the outside? Like I've watch movies where people have got these mesh things up to protect them from, electromagnetic forces, and, you hear people who are doing, wild and crazy things to protect themselves from, the stuff that we're putting out there that's bouncing back to us. Is that something that we really need to be concerned about?
Yeah, so this kind of goes into like one of the many things that influence our pain experience. And we were kind of talking before about like, working with your pain and healing your pain, right? And there's so many things that go into that. And when I work with clients, I take a very in-depth health history because I want to understand what they've been through, what their life is currently looks like, what are they eating, right? Because food matters, talking about all these things that impact inflammation. Food matters, exercise matters, meditation matters, right? What we're doing to express ourselves, and that be emotionally express or movement. Another thing that I ask about is how often are you using your phone? Are you sitting at a laptop or a computer screen all day long? Is your phone attached to your hip? Are you sleeping with your phone on? Are you sleeping with your phone under your pillow? That's the one that gets me, is the fact that people sleep with their phone actually underneath their pillow at night.
So like, yeah, so you've got like this thing emanating waves into your brain all night.
Yep. So I know that like 5G, again, there's so many things that impact inflammation, and EMF, electromagnetic fields, are just one of them. But I know that there's a lot of people in the group that are really interested in talking about this. It's a really hot topic right now in the world, is this 5G and this rollout of 5G, which is something that, you know, we really can't stop, unfortunately. And it's really scary that we can't stop it. I'm not going to lie to you. And so I actually tomorrow am hosting a webinar all on electromagnetic radiation. We're going to be talking 5G. We're going to be going really in depth. I have a really nice presentation all laid out. And I want to preface this by, you know, by no means am I an expert in radiation and in 5G. I'm someone that has done the research, that has looked into what exists out there and what doesn't exist. And you're going to see a lot of conflicting evidence. I will definitely start with that. But where you're going to find the answers is when you start to really sift through that evidence and really learn and understand what you're looking at. So when we're talking about radiation, okay, or let's talk about EMF, when we're talking about electromagnetic fields, we're talking about frequencies and we're talking about waves. Now, going from 2G to 3G to 4G and now 5G, what's happening is we are needing a stronger frequency to be able to transmit data back and forth faster, better, and have more capabilities, right? So like 5G is supposed to make sure that when you and I are talking, there's no glitches in the system and we're able to see all the little pimples on each other's faces, right? Just kidding. I don't have any pimples. You don't either, but but so ultimately
hang on. Did I miss it?
Ultimately what happens, we had a pause, sorry. We're caught up. So when we increase these frequencies, we have an inverse relationship with wavelengths. Okay, so as we get higher in frequencies, we become lower in wavelengths. Now, as we become lower in wavelengths, we are required to have more, as you're going to see all over the place, more of these antennas being able to transmit data to us from a shorter period, because the smaller the wavelength, the less distance those waves can travel. So in all of the research that I have found, there is a lot of data that does point to the electromagnetic field being harmful to our health, okay? So what 5G is doing is the higher up the frequency that we get, you know, I've seen in regards to the 5G, we're going to be looking at anywhere between 20 and 90, I think I've seen 96 as the highest gigahertz. So the higher the frequency, the smaller the wavelength. And what happens is these wavelengths permeate the skin, okay? And a lot of the studies that you will find that say that this is not harmful to our health have only assessed the impacts when exposed for a short period of time. We're talking about like 1 hour, 2 hour, 3 hours, 15 minutes, like a very short amount of time. And a lot of these studies have showed there have been changes in markers, inflammation, oxidative stress, cognitive impairments in rats. There's been a lot of data that shows these things. However, it's kind of been marked inconclusive because it's not strong enough to show that this is detrimental to our health. So again, you can start to see like that there's conflicting evidence back and forth, right? I came across some absolute gold yesterday in one of my searches. I was going through one of the public health trust websites, and I came across an article from 1977 This is one of the first articles that actually assessed the small millimeter wavelengths, which is what we're going to be seeing with 5G, and their impacts on the body. And this article was literally classified by the CIA, yes, until 2015.
What? That's
insane. So this information is, yeah. I'm like, okay, so there's a reason why this article has been classified, and on it you can literally see, like, it says like government use only. That's it. So there's a lot of things that are being like hidden from us in regards to, and I'll also note that all the references in that article cannot be accessed. So all of the articles that they do reference showing the impacts of this small millimeter wavelengths on the body, they can't be accessed, a lot of them. And that's really where we start to have these detrimental effects, is when the smaller that wavelength becomes, the more we are seeing the impacts of it having on the system. Now, how does this impact the body? Let's get into that. So what happens is these wavelengths penetrate the skin, okay? And you can find that in many different places. These wavelengths penetrate the skin. And because they're such a high frequency, they get very, very close to the microwave frequencies, okay? It is said that they do not heat up the body, okay, at the frequency that they're at. However, when we absorb into the skin, okay, and even in the top layer of skin, when we absorb these radiation waves, what happens is it starts to impact our nervous system, okay? So we've got nerves that kind of, think about the top layer of skin, we've got nerves that penetrate, through our body, and the fibers come into the top layer of the skin. So when we start to penetrate those nerves, signals travel, okay? Signals travel through the body. And when these signals travel through the body, ultimately what starts to happen is it starts to disrupt our body's homeostasis.
So tell me, do that. Homeostasis is, because people might not know what that means.
Mm-hmm. Homeostasis is like the body's neutral, like normal, like healthy.
This is the ultimate a human being can be.
Yes, the ultimate health thing, that is ultimate homeostasis, right? So when we start to impact these cells with these radiation, what starts to happen is the cells start to get sick. We start to create reactive oxygen species, or what they're called. Some people will know these as free radicals, okay? And what happens, if we want to get into the science of it, we've got an atom, right? And around the atom, we have electrons. That's what the periodic table tells us based on what row you're in, right? Or column, sorry. Yes. What column you're in will tell you how many electrons are in the outer shell. So when we're missing electrons from the outer shell, we become more dangerous and we become free radicals. And the only way to combat that is through antioxidant defense, all right? And through our immune defense. However, when we are exposing the body to amounts of radiation, and massive amounts of radiation, like we literally have this on us all freaking day long. Like I'm talking to you on my laptop and I have my phone like right next to me. You know what I mean? Like we cannot get away from this stuff. It runs our freaking life. Look at us. Like we're talking on Zoom right now. Like this shit runs our life. You know what I mean? Like
surrounded by screens and like screen. I can remember many years ago, was it, I can't remember who it was. Was it Bill Gates or someone like that? And he was asked, how many PCs does one family need? And it was like, one. And like, I know in my house, there's like 4 laptops, 2 PCs, 2 smart TVs. They can't be that smart because I don't make my dinner. But we're surrounded by all of these waves that you're talking about attacking and going through our skin. We can't see it. If I feel like I need to go cover myself in protective.
Yeah. I know. It's a lot. And electromagnetic sensitivity, like electrosensitivity is a thing. I mean, I found so much information. If you guys want to know like the really dirty nitty-ditty details, join me in the webinar tomorrow because I'm talking everything. But I mean,
in the chat when we finish this, because at the moment I can't do two things at once. I'm just so your knowledge is absolutely amazing, Leah. It's like I'm like going, and free radicals sound like it should be something that's really cool, like some type of peace dude smoking a joint. Like, yeah, man, it's all right. But free radicals sound like they're really bad. Like, I'm not inviting them to stay.
They're a good thing and a bad thing, right? Because free radicals are actually what stimulate our body's defense system. So without those free radicals, our body can't go in and heal and support and bring in the nutrients and the defense that we need. However, when we have this massive imbalance of free radicals and antioxidants, and when we have too much free radicals and we can't combat it with enough antioxidants because our body is so weakened, then that's when that becomes a problem and creates something called oxidative stress.
Heard of that.
That oxidative stress is what we know creates inflammation. So when we're looking at the
things like cancer, arthritis, heart disease, asthma, diabetes, like all of these modern day chronic illnesses that so many of us just live with and put up with and take a pop a pill and go, well, this is kind of my life. This is what it is. But what you're saying, there's ways that we can overcome that.
Oh, there's so many ways. And I work with so many people that have cancer, that have rheumatoid arthritis, that have fibromyalgia, that have chronic diseases, autoimmune diseases, that are told that like, you're never going to get better. And that this is going to be your life. Like, I work with these people because what doctors aren't educating them is how they can start to decrease their exposure to their exposure to things that are going to lead to the formation of oxidative stress in the body. And that's really where I come in with many different modalities, is I educate people on things that they can do to protect themselves from things like radiation, to decrease their body's inflammation, and to ultimately help to optimize their health.
Wow, it sounds like I need you in my back pocket. I've got a pretty big pocket. I'm sure I could fit you.
It's like warm and fuzzy. I'm totally down.
Yeah, I live on the Gold Coast in Queensland. It's like, even though none of us are allowed to go anywhere, it's still pretty nice. I can hear the ocean from where I am, and there's a beautiful sea breeze. So, yeah, come on down. Come on down under. When we're allowed to.
I do plan on coming out. If I do, I will definitely come and say hello.
Yeah, you have to. And we'll go and we will put our phones down and we'll go sit on the beach and just enjoy the serenity.
I love it. I love big beach bum. Big beach bum. So
you were telling me that you've just moved to LA. So you came from Boston. Boston, Massachusetts just sounds so posh to me. I'm from Boston, Massachusetts. It's like such a great word, so grand. So you've moved from Boston to LA and you've only been there 3 weeks. So you've really seen nothing because you've been in lockdown.
No, I've seen the beautiful mountains up behind my house. I take a nice little walk up there just about daily. It's really nice. Yes. That's about it.
When you get out of, so what's the feeling there? Like, I know, we're also connected through the news right now. I'm trying not to be, updates every half an hour and, politicians in the newspapers and online and doing lives. And so we're watching from here and thinking, oh my God, America looks like zombie apocalypse. Is it as bad as what we're seeing? Like, what's the feeling there amongst, as many people as you've been able to talk to?
Yeah, so it depends on where you're at. I know there's definitely certain areas that are way worse than others. Like from my understanding, Chicago, New York, and down in Texas are pretty bad right now in regards to COVID patients. Everywhere else, it's pretty much on lockdown for protective mechanisms, and they're preparing for massive surges of people coming in with the virus. So like, I know like my mom is actually a nurse back home at Mass General Hospital in Massachusetts, Boston. Very well-known hospital, and she's been, telling me all the things that they have going on there. Like, no one's allowed in and out of the hospital. unless you're like, it's an emergency situation, or unless you're, you know, medical personnel. Everything is on lockdown. And I mean, here, it's definitely not like zombie apocalypse land or anything like that. It certainly feels like it because there's like nobody out and about. But thankfully, like where I am here in LA, we haven't seen a massive surge in, you know, patients that are sick yet. However, it's here, you know, it's everywhere. And again, this makes it so much more important for people to understand like what they can actually do to support their body by decreasing inflammation and supporting their immune system. You know, not to say that like you're going to be able to prevent this from happening or from getting the virus, but the stronger your defense system is, the stronger you can fight that off. And again, that pulls in the whole radiation thing, like making sure that you're doing things to reduce your toxic exposure. So important. You know, turning off your phone at night. I figure maybe, should we give them like things that they can do? Should we like give them action steps to do?
Say, like, as we wrap up, why don't we leave people with a few things that they can do to arm their body's fortress and be as prepared? Because like what I've seen is like in countries where it's really cold, because Europe and the States have just come out of winter, is that, you know, your defenses are lower anyway, because that's when we tend to have more flus and colds and viruses. We're about to head into winter. So if you could share with us what's some of the things that we can do at home to protect our bodies and to be as prepared as we can. So if we do get the virus, then hopefully we're able to, you know, fight that little bugger off more quickly than not.
Absolutely. I do want to preface this with the fact that I do not necessarily believe that like this 5G thing is what's causing COVID. I'm not part of that entire aspect of thinking. But I do believe that the exposure to radiation is one of the bigger key players that we're experiencing in preventing our body from fighting this. So let's start with like what you can do to protect yourself from EMF, okay, electromagnetic fields. I'll start with number one, this necklace that I have on my neck here. This is called a Q-link. This I have been wearing for 3 years straight. I do not take it off unless I have to like, well, unless I'm doing kettlebell swings. I think that's the only time I take it off. So it's copper. It's a copper ring, and it helps protect. There's a small disc in here that also holds a frequency that protects your body's ability to stay at that homeostasis. Okay, this is the Q-links have been around. One of the longest or a company that's been around for the longest in regards to working with EMF protection. So I highly recommend grabbing yourself one of these. If you are interested, I have a buy one, get one free link that's good until tomorrow night. So if you're interested and anybody wants that, I'm happy to share that. I highly recommend grabbing it for yourself and sharing it with your family and keeping your kids protected as well. So that's number one. Number two, please turn your phones off at night. Like there's really no reason for us to be connected to our cell phones while we're sleeping. That is preventing us from doing things like boosting our melatonin levels and from actually getting a good sleep that we need to recover and to heal our bodies. So super important that you're doing that. I highly recommend. I will also tell you that if you start doing that and use an old school alarm clock, you see it right there, right? An old school alarm clock, you get a much better sleep and you're actually a lot happier when you wake up in the morning rather than like just like immediately turning over and be like, hey, I'm immediately connected to my phone. Good morning, you know?
Well, who needs an alarm clock right now? None of us are going anywhere.
True. So you can do that. Turning off your wireless router in your home. That is a big one, okay? Turning off your wireless router has shown massive benefits in decreasing the toxic radiation exposure in your home. Wi-Fi is one of the detrimental impacts of anything. So turning off that at night is a great thing. People can get like timers that you put lamps on, and you can actually connect your router to that. So at night, it turns off at a particular time and then turns on at a particular time as well.
That's a good idea.
That's another one. In regards to supporting your body with the electrons that are needed to prevent this oxidative stress, one of my favorite ways of doing this, and I'm sure you do this all the time, is grounding yourself with the earth. Earthing is what it's called. So being barefoot with the earth is where you're actually going to get electrons and that help to normalize your body back to homeostasis so that you can improve and increase your body's ability to produce these free radical fighting antioxidants.
I do that all the time. There goes my U-Butte screen behind me. See, that's the beauty.
That's okay.
We're almost done. There's the illusion of like Annette's in a really cool place right now. Yep, there's my messy office behind.
I still think it's a really cool place.
I feel so much better. Like I can be so stressed sitting at my computer and I'll go walk outside and stand just on the grass and curl my toes up on it and just stand there for 10 minutes in the sun and just go, life's better already.
I feel like it's almost physically impossible to like not feel better after being outside for 15 minutes in the sun and on the ground with bare feet. Doesn't matter where you are. I mean, it kind of does. Like, putting your bare feet on concrete or, the street, that's not going to have the same impact as putting it directly in the dirt or on the ground. Like, get dirty. Like,
yeah.
When was the last time you put your feet in the mud? I went for a walk a couple of weeks ago and it was so muddy and I took my shoes off. My friend was like, what are you doing? And I'm like, I'm earthing.
I'll have to.
So do that.
One of my favorite things to do is to go and see live music. And I'm often wandering around without shoes on and I take photos of my feet throughout the day. So they'll start, all lovely and clean. And by the end of the night, sometimes it's like, do I actually have toes? Because they're so covered in mud. Just like my friends are like going, that's gross. And it's like, no, it's awesome. We're standing here dancing and I'm connected to the earth and the music and the energy of the people who are pouring their skill and their talent out to me in the audience. It's like I'm part of their vibe.
Yeah, exactly. That hippie life, I totally like it better.
Yeah, I'm a big hippie, although I do look like Bon Jovi today.
No, yeah, so some other things that you can do, definitely being mindful of what you're eating, right? Because what you're putting in your mouth is going to have a massive impact in regards to the oxidative stress that is produced in your body. So trying to stay away from processed foods, staying away from sugars, staying away from alcohol, staying away from things that are going to increase the amount of oxidative stress in your body. Super important. Every
Australian's diet, like we're all stuffed now because I think, I'm looking, I've got people who are saying to me, I never drink, I'm drinking more now. I'm reaching for chips and we're all comfort eating, but we're actually doing more damage than good, aren't we? We're putting a Band-Aid on, but we're actually making insides a little swillier and messier.
Creating inflammation is what we're doing, and everything in moderation, right? Like I had a glass of red wine last night, but I don't have a glass of red wine every single night of the week. There's a big difference between what your body can take and what you should and what you shouldn't use for.
Leah, you are so damn interesting. I could talk to you for the rest of the day, but maybe everybody doesn't want to sit here and listen to us, Nada. Thank you so much. I'm going to share the link to your webinar because for those who are interested in learning more about 5G and radiation and EMF and all of those really interesting things that you've given me food for thought, because I always kind of went, you bunch of nut jobs. And now after listening to you, it's like, oh, okay, maybe I need to look a little bit deeper into this because I guess there's so much information and you get a little bit overwhelmed. So you are fantastic. Stay in touch with us here at Obsessed, and I hope you're hanging out in Obsessed with and sharing your genius and all of your talents. And if you do have a special little talent, feel free to share that as well. Maybe you sing or play some music or tap dance. I don't know. I do none of those things and nobody'd want to see it. But anyway.
I recently started like dancing with a hula hoop and it's like the greatest thing ever.
Do it.
But I love it. But yes, Thank you so much for having me on. I will definitely share with you the link if anyone is interested in joining. It is totally free. And if you do register, you will end up receiving all of the free links. Well, it's all free, but you'll receive all of the links after so that you can dive a little bit deeper into the research. We're going to be definitely talking a lot more about like all of the things that you can be doing to really help your body and support your immune system right now. If anybody has any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I do work with clients online from anywhere around the world. So I'm here to support in any way I possibly can. Thank you so much for having me.
You're welcome, Leah. Thank you. I'm totally obsessed with you right now. Thank you. You are amazeballs.
I'm totally obsessed with you.
Oh, stop it. Thanks, everyone, for joining us. We'll work out how to do this shared screen next time, but, you know, it was a good conversation and you were lucky to be privy of it. We'll catch you next time.
Thank you, Annette. Bye, everyone.